So I may have mentioned that Todd, alias Todd Macator, alias Toddy Bob, alias Honey Babe's boy, is currently en route to our location. And he is bringing a truck full of tools that belong to me that he picked up in Maine after the wedding or before, I can't remember. Maybe it was just before the wedding of Brandon, who is Honey Baby's grandson, and Michelle, who is one of the sweetest, nicest, prettiest people on the planet. But all of that aside, and you know, I grow, what's the word? There's a psychological word for what I just did. I can't think of the name of it. It's called, never mind. Anyway, I have a kayak in the back of my car. Now, a lot of people, when I put a kayak in the back of a Prius, they laugh. Ha, ha, ha. You're going to put a kayak in the back of a Prius? Yes, I am. In fact, I have had two kayaks in the back of my Prius at the same time and have driven them to the lake or back to the campground or from various and sundry different places. What's that? So, but I have this kayak because Honey Baby wanted a sit-on-top kayak, and we found this one on Marketplace for $150. Now, it sells new for $308 or $309, depending on which store you order it from. But we found this one provided by a very nice couple for $150. Honey Baby wants a sit-on-top, and I think I might too. You know, I've got two kayaks. I've got two Pelican 100s in there. Awesome. I had three more Pelicans up in Maine that I've sold. But one of the things I discovered is if you leave a Pelican 100 sitting in the woods, things can get inside of it, like snakes, rats, mice, lizards, crickets, leaves, brush, dust, dirt, mud, things of that nature. I had the experience one day of rolling my kayak over and having a mouse run underneath the seat, and underneath the seat of the kayak is styrofoam, so you can't look behind you back where the flotation stuff is and see where the mice is. So at that point you have two options. You can burn the kayak, which I wouldn't do because it would hurt the mouse and I'd lose my kayak, or you can just sit your fat self down in the boat with the mice and say, you know, mouse, we're both in this together. If you don't bother me, I won't bother you, and we'll both get through this alive. And that's kind of what I did. But it gave me some pause. I had a little pause, not like dog pause, but like I'm going to pause here for a second or two. It gave me some pause because Honey Baby was talking about wanting a sit-on-top kayak, and with a sit-on-top kayak, there's no way that anything can get inside of it because it's all sealed, top and bottom, inside and out. Some of them do have a little unscrewable portage place, but other than that, it's all sealed up so that snakes and rats and mice and other things really can't get in there and then sneak up behind you and crawl up your legs and stuff like that. So anyway, I volunteered to go to the other side of Athens and pick up this kayak and bring it back home for Honey Baby. And Todd is coming later, and that means we'll have three kayaks. So we may wind up out on the water in kayaks before the weekend is over. I can't say for sure. But I was also going to talk a little bit more about having a kayak and a Prius, because one of the cool things about having a kayak and a Prius is that all those people that laugh at you when they see you putting a kayak in your Prius have to, at some point, pause and realize this guy's hauling his kayak to the lake and getting 50 to 70 miles to a gallon while I'm driving my truck and getting 17. And then you go, and you think about that. So the world is a better place for your kayakers and Prius drivers and all of that. So I said all that just so I could say all that, and I think that's about all I have to say. I was thinking vaguely about maybe swinging through somewhere, filling the car up and grabbing a sandwich or a sausage or a weenie or something to eat, but I might just hold off. I might get some gas, but just proceed onward to the house where I am capable of manufacturing some food which I could eat without spending any money, and it would probably be more healthier for me. For example, Honey Baby told me the other day she had some new oatmeal. You know, I eat oatmeal and raisins or oatmeal and cranberries or oatmeal and tomatoes quite often, but she has this flavored oatmeal, and she said, you should give this stuff a try. So who knows, today might be the day I decide to give that stuff a try. I do, after all, have tomatoes. I went over to South Carolina the other day looking for an additional toolbox for my bunker, and I drove by a place where this guy was selling tomatoes from a stand in his front yard, and I bought me up some homegrown tomatoes. Now I'm going to say this, they weren't as good as I was hoping they would be. In fact, I haven't had any tomatoes so far this year that are as good as I was hoping they would be, but it may be that I'm always hoping tomatoes will be better than they actually turn out to be. So I can't really say what is going on other than the fact that I am not finding tomatoes even here in the South. See, in the Maine, you don't expect, in Maine, where I've been living for all these years, you don't expect to get good tomatoes, just like you don't expect to get good watermelon, because, well, I mean, you might get some that they shipped up there from Florida, Texas, or Mexico, or something like that, but you don't really expect to get it in Maine. You know, mostly Maine tomatoes taste like cardboard because they're not really nurtured, built, engineered, or nobody plans to grow a good tasting tomato that they're going to put in a truck and ship for 1,500 miles or more. Because if they get it there and it tastes good, but it's crushed or mushy or otherwise unfavorable, then they've just spent a lot of effort and got nothing for it. So what they do instead is they make tomatoes out in the Salinas Valley, and they suck water out of the aquifer, so that the rich farmers have water and the poor farmers don't, and they water these tomatoes, and then they ship them to us in Maine, and they taste like crap. So that means that not only are the poor farmers starving for water out in California, in the Salinas Valley, but it means that all of the economical, ecological stuffage that happens when you burn diesel fuel across an entire country to hold a truckload of tomatoes, which turns out to taste like cardboard, is really a defeating prospect. You know, sometimes I start going in one direction and I just get off, a whole different direction before I even know what happened, and I can't even tell you the process. I can't even describe the process of how that happens. Sometimes it just happens. But I started all this to say, well, I can't remember what I started all this to say, other than that I've got a kayak in a Prius, and I'm driving up a Georgia road headed for the lake and my Honey Baby, and I may be headed for breakfast. Probably am going to have some breakfast somewhere, and probably will get some gas, and was there one more? And I kind of might use the bathroom, but I might wait till I get home because I'm not desperate or anything. So anyway, okay, that's all I'm going to say about that right there. So thank y'all for listening, and I hope you have a great day, and if you don't, just get over it. Cut it out. Stop being that way. You don't have to be that way. Straighten up and act right. Okay? Okay. See y'all. Bye.